How's it going, everybody? Ryan here. And I've been wanting to do a video about this for a few months now. If you're anything like me, a few months ago, you probably started getting some very targeted advertisements on Facebook and other platforms for something called Animation Legends, a website that was claiming to sell original art cells from the animated series of our youths, or just, maybe you're not that old, but, like nerdy properties, old cartoons and stuff like that, actual cells that were used in the production of these cartoons. So I was unsure. I mean, half of the advertisements that I get on Facebook are, hit or miss or scams. I've definitely been burned in the past by clicking buy on something that looked really cool, and then once it was delivered, it was very, very poor quality, and not really what it claimed to be. So I decided to do a test order a few months back. And just to give you an idea, here's a look at their website. This is animationlegends.com. And they say, own a piece of animation history. And a whole bunch, even Simpsons on here, and Beavis and Butthead, and, all of that. It's definitely reaching out further than what the initial advertisement seemed to suggest, which was, hey, we've got a few cells for a few shows. Originally, they launched with Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, the Care Bears, My Little Pony Tales, and Super Mario World. So I decided to test the water with an order of Sonic the Hedgehog, especially once you clicked in to the show. $45 for 10 cells. Like, I'm not a collector of cells. I've never bought an animation cell in my entire life, but $45 for 10 of them seemed a little cheap, so I thought that it had to be too good to be true. So my first package of 10 arrived, and they were stuck to pieces of paper. And from what I read on the website, it was because they were stored poorly, and the paint on the back of the cell, just over time, kind of stuck to the paper. But here's what I got in my first package. 3 cells of mouth animation, a nice tails and a little mole dude. Now, keep in mind, all of these actually had paper stuck to the back of them. I carefully, as I possibly could, tried to remove that paper from the back, and you can still see the remnants of the paper actually stuck to the paint still on this cell. So if that's something that you want to do, it's something you certainly can do for, display purposes and things like that, to make things look a little bit more clean. I've got a Sonic in the background pulling something. It looks like a fish queen, and another animation cell of a fish queen, and another animation cell of a fish queen, and Grounder. Again, all of these had paper stuck to them, so I just did my best to clean them up. And I can't remember the name of this villain, this henchman, but a pretty good one of him as well. Sure, these are a bit hit and miss, and they are sent to you at random unless you spend an extra $15 for a special request. But the few really good ones that I got were really good, and so I decided to give them another try. So originally my plan was to test out on Sonic the Hedgehog, spend $45, get the 10-pack, and then if they turn out to be legit, make an order on Super Mario World. Unfortunately, by the time I had seen that they were good quality, the Super Mario World cells had already sold out. So I just bought another pack of Sonic the Hedgehog. And this time I got a great Eggman without mouth because it's still animation frame and then they animate the mouth over the top of this, which is kind of neat. A real nice grounder, which I have not yet cleaned up. But here's an example of, how that paper is kind of stuck to the cell. And see, you can kind of work on it and sort of pull it off, but you don't want to risk damaging that cell. And on that paper is something, unique and collectible in its own right. And it's the concept sketches and things like that. So that's pretty cool on its own. But just absolutely beautiful quality grounder. Nice little tails. A Sonic mouth. A ring, I think. I don't even know if that came out, showed up on camera there. Robotnik clinging to a ledge or having been smacked or something like that. Some sort of bird. And on the paper on the back, you've even got the sketch of another frame of that same bird. This is the paper that the ring was stuck to, which made it pretty easy to get off. But, neat, unique sketches. And a startled face. And a rat of some sort. And a knocked over park bench. Picnic table, rather. So again, I had a couple of real gems, really, really beautiful cells, some kind of throwaway, sort of just random bits of animation. But, for $45 for 10 of them, pretty worth it. Now, on their website here, it says, contains at least one A-rated cell, contains certificates of authenticity, and early access to our new releases. So when you purchase, you have the opportunity to sign up for a mailing list and a texting list that will let you know once they add new shows to their library. So as you can see here, they kind of break down the way they work. Animation Legends has the largest inventory of original animation cells in the world. These animation cells that were previously thought to be lost are being released for public purchase for the first time ever. You pick your favorite show, you decide how many cells you want, and we ship you a multi-pack of real animation cells from that show. All of our cells are rated in terms of quality on an A to E scale, A being the best and E being the worst. Every pack 3-pack, is guaranteed to have at least one A-rated cell, and the remaining cells will be randomized B or C grade cells. Yes, the 5 and 10 packs have more A-grade cells. Quality is guaranteed. Our packs now only contain grades A to C cells and no D to F cells. So that's pretty cool. But F grade. But it's an E scale. Animation cells, obviously, if you don't know, are short for animation celluloid. It's a transparent sheet that they draw and paint on, and each one represents a frame of animation in a show. They were originally hand-drawn and then painted onto these cells by people, which is amazing. Why are your cells not more expensive? It's simple. We want everyone to be able to have a piece of history without breaking the bank. Traditionally, there have been very few cells available for purchase to the public. This has made the price of cells inflated, making it difficult for everyone to have their own cells. We're launching Animation Legends with very low prices, but they will increase with time. So apparently, they intend to increase the cost as time goes on. But for now, everything that I've seen has been $45 for a 10-pack, $30 for a 5-pack, and $20 for a 3-pack. Absolutely worth grabbing a 10-pack for $45, in my personal opinion, in my experience. So, after that initial couple of orders, I got a text that they had added some new shows. So, those new shows that they added were He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Street Fighter the Animated Series, and Shazam, and Droopy Dog, and Flash Gordon. And I thought Mortal Kombat was in that as well. I'm pretty sure Mortal Kombat was in that as well. So I decided to place an order for some Street Fighter cells. Now, in the case of the Street Fighter cells, the quality was significantly better. There were a lot fewer cells that had paper stuck to them. So here we've got a very nice close-up of a character. Another just real nice close-up. And another still frame of animation for animating a mouth over. All of these are just really, really decent quality. And so I'm sure it's going to vary from show to show what kind of cells are available for that show. As he kind of goes off into the distance there. And if you'll get your favorite character or not, or, you know, whatever. But all of these are just really nice and clear. Which brings me to my favorite cell from my Street Fighter purchase, which was stuck to this, and fortunately not very stuck to this. There were only a few points that it was really, really stuck. But this brings me to how you can show these off. And I took my favorite Street Fighter cell, and I got this nice frame that's just 2 sheets of glass and just looks really, really cool in it. And it just was absolutely the best cell that I got out of the Street Fighter pack. So there's that, to give you an idea. Have I started collecting these as a way to like sell them down the line for more money or anything like that? No, not at all. And if that's your goal, I don't recommend it. I don't think that these are really going to be of value to, you know, most people, though I definitely expected the price to be higher than what they're being sold for. I, you know, just don't think there's, in general, a huge demand for animation cells. Also, just be a nerd. Enjoy your nerddom. Collect because collecting is fun, and you want to own a piece of your childhood. Which brings me to the next one. I recently received a text message saying that they were going to start shipping out in limited capacity because right now, as I'm filming this, everyone's kind of on lockdown. And so only the one guy, Jacob White, is kind of running the operation at this point. So they're having to run their shipments in limited quantities each day, whatever he can handle on his own. And they were adding one of my favorite shows of all time, Captain N, the Game Master. So of course, I immediately ordered 2 10-packs, and I was not disappointed. So to give you a little idea, the first dog I ever owned, I named Duke after the dog in Captain and the Game Master. And I opened up my first pack of 2 orders, so 20 cells. And I was greeted by that perfect boy. That's Duke. So this is definitely going to be framed. I was so happy to get this cell. But really, when talking with my friend Street Cleaner, both of us had agreed that the holy grail of the Captain N cells would be to get a super vain Simon Belmont. So Captain N, the Game Master, was kind of the first video game representation in cartoon form. So they didn't really have established characters. These were all based on NES characters that hadn't really built any sort of character, I guess. So some of the characters on the series were Mega Man, Kid Icarus, Simon Belmont, and, you know, characters like that. But the core team was Simon Belmont, Kid Icarus, Mega Man, Kevin from the real world, and Princess Lana, who doesn't exist in video games. And so Kid Icarus ended everything with Icus. I tried Icus. And sounded like a prepubescent teen. Mega Man. Oh, Mega Man was bad. Mega Man prefixed everything with Mega and sounded like this. Mega High! Mega High! And it was, in retrospect, it was bad. At the time, we were losing our fucking minds. And Simon Belmont was very vain, and he only looked out for him, and every once in a while he'd bring out his mirror and just make sure that his hair was okay.
Imagine being this good looking for a zillion years.
So, a vain Belmont was kind of on our Holy Grail list. So I was excited to find this, but it's just a Belmont. It's not a vain Belmont. It's nice. It's very nice, but not a vain Belmont. And here we have Princess Lana. I believe this is from the episode where they have to do like sports. And that's why she's wearing the N shirt. Oh yeah, and the villains on Captain and the Game Master were Mother Brain, which again, Mother Brain has never had any character. So, but for some reason, they made her a big sassy black woman.
I can't believe it! You actually did something right for a change!
And Eggplant Wizard and King Hippo. So here's King Hippo, a real nice one. And here is our hero from the real world, Kevin, Captain N, the titular Captain N.
Way cool!
Some kid throwing a newspaper, because I've got several frames of that. I don't actually remember what this is from, but I'm willing to guess that it's something to do with Kid Icarus's world, because it's some old Medusa lady kind of thing. This is not Kevin. This is when there was a second possible Game Master, if I remember. It's been so long since I've seen this show, but seriously, it was like one of my favorite shows ever. Here I've got and what's weird is there's some mismatch in frame size, but here's a little robot playing basketball. Hopefully the camera will pick that up. And a single tentacle. Yes. Or something. A tail, maybe? I don't really know. Here's that kid throwing the paper. It says, awake, or something like that on the paper. And this one actually is the only one, I think, one or two that has paper stuck to it, but like only barely. It would be easy to fix and take off there. And another great King Hippo. And an outstanding Mother Brain. Another of Kevin. And another Simon Belmont, but alas, not the Holy Grail, Vain Belmont. So this is in that other cell where the dude was walking away. This is the other Captain N, if I remember correctly. Again, I don't really remember super fine details, but I seem to remember that there was another potential Captain N, or Kevin wanted to go home and they had to find a replacement, and he was a real jerk, as you can tell by look at his face design. Look at that guy and try and tell me he's not a jerk. Everyone ended up missing Kevin. Here's some sort of wormhole-y kind of thing. And not Kevin walking away again. And a bag and some legs. And a very sweaty eggplant wizard. So I was so happy with my first two orders of Captain N cells that I placed another 2 orders. And I was very happy to find yet more Duke. Lots more Duke, several contiguous frames of animation of Duke, which are great. And kind of part of Kid Icarus, a little bit. And the big boy, look at the goodest boy being hypnotized by something. He is just the goodest boy. I was very happy to get that one. Another of not Kevin walking away. another very similar Goodest Boy from the last orders. And then a few frames of animation, contiguous animation of Kevin dodging out of the way of a spear, a giant spear, probably in Congo land. But really, really great quality. None of these were stuck to paper. Just really, really beautiful quality. Profile of Mother Brain. Lana in her sportswear again. And another really nice Mother Brain. And finally, we got our first Belmont with face and mouth. So it was not a single frame of animation for animating a mouth over. But finally, what could Simon be rooting for there? What's he digging for? What's he looking for?
Oh, look at how... I need to check my hair. Look at how pretty I am. Oh, oh, Princess, you only wish that you looked as good as me.
Like, no joke, that's what Simon Belmont was in Captain N. Another not Kevin walking away. Kid throwing newspaper again. Monk with a sword or something, or staff. And that time when Duke and Rush had a contest. Basically, Duke was jealous of Mega Man's dog. And that is all I've gotten so far. From what I've seen, the quality is really good, especially considering I definitely expected that you'd have to pay way more for these like literal tangible pieces of your childhood. The shipping is super fast, and with each of them you get these little certificate of authenticity cards that verify their authenticity. If you're a huge into any of these cartoons, as into them as I was, especially with Captain N, it's absolutely worth it. I'm probably going to frame a good 90% of those and put them up around the house and on the set once we finish the studio and things like that. It's just so good. It warms my heart. It makes me so happy because I love that show so much. And they have a list of shows that they have that will be coming up. On that list, just some that I'm particularly stoked for. Beetlejuice, Beavis and Butthead, Brave Star, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Captain Planet, Carmen Sandiego, Double Dragon, Earthworm Jim, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. There's a huge list available. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Just all kinds of shows are going to end up on this site over time. So, if you love any of these and you'd like to own an actual physical piece of any of these, I highly recommend Animation Legends. The price is great and it's just really cool. Like, I watched this broadcast, this actual piece of thing, this actual piece of actual art. I watched this broadcast, this actual thing, when I was 8. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's an acquired taste, but for me, it's very exciting. Anyway, hopefully you like that video. And hopefully you like animation cells. If you like that video, we've got tons of other videos. Be sure to check out our podcast that we do every single week. We broadcast it live and then we upload a post-processed version on Monday. And yeah, We've got gameplay videos, though we haven't had an opportunity to put a whole lot more of those out lately. But those will be starting up again soon, and we'll probably start streaming on the weekends, at least a little bit, some gameplay on our various channels. So subscribe and keep an eye out here. Check out all of our other stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.
Is this your card?
Subscribe if it is.